this. So that's streaming. Okay, fantastic.
So the first is, let me just actually grab my iPad so it's easier to see.
That's fine.
So my I've got my reception desk in place,
Okay.
but obviously we're gonna need it for like details and things
Yes.
like that. So I was wondering if I should actually do it as a family.
No, this is fine. Do it in place. So let's just check. Edit in place. So at any point when you are modeling something in place, you can jump between categories. So meaning, if you see this folder over here, family category and parameters,
Yeah.
make sure that you use the correct category.
Okay.
Okay, for this one, you want generic model. If you use furniture, it just means if you cut sections through this, it will never cut a section through a furniture object. It's quite common. So Sana, if you took this building, you took all this furniture, and you cut a section through here,
Yeah.
you don't want to cut sections. You never cut sections through the furniture, never, because it's actually it's secondary. It's purely context. However, in your situation, this is something that you're busy. It's part of your design, and you when you cut a section through it, it's something that's going to be built in place from your perspective. It's something that they're going to have to manufacture. So good, you've done this correctly. Generic model. Okay. Now the only little catch here is
Yeah.
do you want to deconstruct this thing?
Probably. I'm not entirely sure what we need to do with it yet, but I just know we need it rendered and we need sections and that.
Okay, but that's fine. So what you can do, so let me explain this as well. What you can also do is you can also make this an assembly. So yes, you go to assembly, create assembly. So what assembly does is I call this front, and you can make a note of this because what's cool about an assembly is if you go to create views for assembly, because look what it'll do. It'll take this little object and it'll unpack it into a series of drawings for you
Okay.
and create all the. So let's make this a 1 to 10. Let's make everything 1 to 10. Here, you don't need a parts list. You don't need material takeoff. You just want elevations and you want like a section A, B, and an ortho. Watch this. Done. Press OK. Let it go. So what it does is it creates this view for you. Now each one of these is a section. So now it'll start breaking this thing up. This is showing a plan view. Just remember you need to change. You need to look from the top. It'll even cut it up into little packages. So if we go right down here to the bottom now to assemblies, yes, right at the bottom. Go right down to the bottom. If you go to assemblies, so what it does is it creates, if we go to 3D view now, here it focuses just on this object. Okay.
Yeah.
If I go to detail sections now, watch this. So detail section A. So it actually cuts this thing up into, but you can add more of these.
Yeah.
You can add more to this assembly. Now you can start seeing that this will start looking a lot better. Okay, section B. Okay, it just depends how you've modeled stuff. So that's where.
Yeah, so I still need to do the
But
inside
now
detail.
you draft over this. So it gives you the bones. Now you draft how it should work. Okay, so there's a lot of, because you're not going to model every single little clip. You'll be here for freaking months. Okay, you want to give them an idea. It gives you the front elevation, back elevation, and I didn't have to do much. It does it all for me.
Awesome.
Straight, straight, straight. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, it's just adding views to these things is a tricky little. This is something. It's something more aimed at what you guys do, not as an architectural. And it even puts everything on a sheet, if I remember correctly.
Robs, did you model this in an assembly?
Modeled it as in place.
In place, but then you create an assembly. Okay.
But that little like.
Yeah. Yeah. So here you just.
This is being recorded, right?
Yeah, it has been recorded. Yeah, visibility. I just want to make sure. So if you go to 3D view, so front view. So just remember, every view, you'll see it creates. You can move this guy up now to. If you move this up, it looks down at everything. It's actually cutting. It takes object and just tries to cut it up. So you might want to do that, but you also want a view above. So this is a view above looking down. Okay, so that view, it looks down. So that's elevation top. So if you go to elevation top, it literally breaks this thing into the multiple little pieces. And what I like about this, you can go to fine now. Let's move this out the way. Now you can change this to realistic if you want the realistic. or use your shaded. Okay,
Okay, perfect.
right now one last little. And what I like about this assembly, if I want to keep modeling on this, I can model in here because I'm actually working on the element.
Does
So
whatever you model here, does it change it in the model?
yes, it looks strange. Now if I go to edit in place, it'll stay green like this. So this is the only maybe no, maybe you'll have to do it in the view.
Okay.
Okay, let me just do this. No, I don't use these things that often. Let's just press cancel. Let's just go back. So 3D view, 3D view. I'll tell you what, do this. Grab this guy, just like this, and you go to, let's just go to your ground floor plan again. What is your drawing? Which one is it, Chad?
It's working drawing level 0.
Okay, working drawing level 0. Okay, good. Grab this object. Now we're going to use this edit assembly. Select the object, and then we're going to use this command. I just want to make a 3D view of it, and maybe save this 3D view, just so when you're using it, there we go. Okay, so when we're working on it, I wonder if we must maybe finish it. Edit in place. Okay, no, that's good. Right, now, what you need to start doing is make sure that you give everything a category. So meaning, let's pull this down here. You notice at the moment there's no subcategories assigned. So now you must put that on a worktop category. So it means when you cut through it, you can control your line weights of each element better.
Okay. I remember doing this the last project, but I did not do it yet.
Okay, so we'll talk through the step by step. So this is a generic model category. So when you go to manage and you go to object styles,
Right.
because this is an in-place family, you just have to navigate to your generic model over here, generic model. Okay. Now all you have to do is you need to start adding some categories. So call this, and this is pretty generic for all of your furniture. I would build a list of stuff. So maybe carcass, it's the structure, worktop will be the top, decorative elements. Call them, give them a category that you know, so that everything that you model now, you just make. This will be pre-built for you. Then you're just making sure things are on the right category, because then you can call, when you cut through it, you can control the way the line weights work, etc. Okay, so let's say worktop. Okay, so that will be the first category. Here, for example, when you look at it, so in this instance, make it 2. But when you cut through it, maybe it's like wood, so maybe it needs to be line weight 3. Okay,
Yeah.
or 4. You need to work that out what suits. But I think line weight 3 and 4 is the good. So maybe the worktop is more important. Make it 4. The other carcassing around, you might make that thinner. So let's just say this, or call it frame. You just need to work up a new, and just always make sure that it's in the. So call this frame. This might be 2 and this might be 3 now, for example. Okay, and I'll just explain. Good. Move this out the way again. This thing sometimes is a real pain. Now, all that you do is select the stuff, and now you're just putting it on the categories the whole time. Frame, so this will be worktop. Now, what's neat is, let's keep this open. If I go to my assemblies, that's strange. I should have put everything on a sheet, but we'll see now. I go over here and I go to, let's go to section AA. And I say finish model and finish. Now, when you start cutting through the stuff, it will start showing fine. Hey, we must assign the materiality. The things will start cutting correctly. Okay, it will start showing stuff correctly, switching your line weights. So now you can start seeing, you'll start seeing the differentiation. Okay, so let's just go back to our 3D view. So let's go to 3D view again. Yeah, let's go. Good. Yeah, so you need to just give this thing a bit of thickness. Now, just go back, edit assembly. This is the only problem with using assemblies. Make the assembly at the end. Okay.
Okay.
Make the assembly at the end, get the model kind of done, and then when you
Then
need to
make
cut it up, then it's done. Because now we have to keep jumping in and out. Okay, so you can literally select this guy and just say disassemble. And what's neat is
Does that assembly disappear then?
voila, all that other rubbish gone. Okay,
Perfect.
so that's how I would handle these guys because it'll cut it up nicely. It'll, yeah. Okay, now let's just get back to the in-place modding. Now, just with your materials, delete elements, that's fine. Edit in place. Now, the other little trick. Just start making sure that you assign the materials to these objects. So
So that is the material that I'm using.
this is the material.
Yeah.
Just when you're adding the correct materials, just start being conscious of the way it will look when you cut through it. So meaning, if you go to graphics, make sure that you start assigning. So when you cut through it, it'll start giving you so it's pretty straightforward. Surface pattern, but cut pattern. So now you can start getting,
the hatching.
and you understand the background and foreground.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you've done all of this, your model's actually, once you assign the correct material and category, 90% of it's done. Okay. Then it'll cut correctly and look correct. Okay. Then this stuff will start working a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, and you can save these views as a working view, but remember, if you just want to reset everything, voila. Okay, cool. Then it's your whole model again. Wow, then you've got the whole city.
It's a big model.
Then you've got the whole city again.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that was the first little thing. Let's go back to here.
Then the second one is, I'm not sure if it's possible, but I wanted doors that arch.
Yeah, you can do that.
Can you do it with
You can do that. Do you want them in a... Yeah, this is a little tricky because they don't quite work in a shop front.
So I need them, all the doors that are arched are either are mainly on like the curtain walls.
On the curtain walls.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just see what we can do here.
There's no door there.
Okay, so
It's
so you want to put an arch door in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what we'll do in this instance is we'll build in. You can use a glass wall. So you actually make a wall that's glass. Okay. And you put the glass wall in because this is a little tricky. Wondering if you just make it a whole family rather. Make the door a whole family and then it works. Yeah, then you embed it and then you tell the shop fronts to stop to it. This is where it gets a bit strange. Okay, it gets weird. So
I might need it for like one or two doors on a normal
on the exterior. Okay, so let me give you a quick crash course on how to make a door family. Okay, and it's going to host in the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
But it's different for a curtain wall.
No, so what we can do is we can make the whole door fit in a curtain panel.
Okay.
So you've got two options. You can make it fit in a curtain panel, but now this is where it's tricky. You might have to make two families, one that works in a normal wall and one that works in a curtain wall. Okay. But once you know how to do this, it's not rocket science. Okay. All right. File. So here you have to make it externally. So file, new. Let's just start with embedding it in the wall because maybe embedding in the wall is probably the best option first because then it allows you. Yeah, let's start with this option. Yeah, it's a bit tricky when you need to use them sometimes. Okay, so Revit, file, new family. Okay, now you must always make sure it's a metric door. So you go to doors, and it's always going to be hosted in a wall because a door always works with a metric door. There we go. See here you've got door curtain wall and you've got door normal door. So let's just open it up and explain what's going on. By default, it gives you 80% of the stuff that you need. 80% of the stuff. It makes the whole already and explains where the interior exterior side is. Okay, so let's just quickly close and active views. Okay, by default, it gives you an exterior, interior, and it gives you the basic line work that you're going to use and the basic premise of how it's going to work. Okay, don't worry about the wall. Doesn't matter. It's immaterial. Okay, now let's go to the floor level. All we have to do now, you'll notice if you go to tab, you've always got a working plane in here, and this working plane is always going to be locked to the middle. It's pinned and it's always locked to the middle. Okay, so you can use this as your working plane. So it's always, the door's always in the middle, which I think maybe will be the best option. Okay, okay. But you can put a new reference plane that you can use to move the door. So the door can actually move within the wall if you need to. So just bear that in mind. That's something to consider. But anyway, I don't need these extrusions around the door, so I'm going to delete that information for now. I don't need that frame extrusions because technically all I'm interested in is creating a door opening. One last thing that you've got to consider, every door is, you have to, there's an opening that's always in place that is getting governed by these dimensions that are ready. So you see this height,
Yeah.
and if you go back to the reference level, this width,
Yep.
that's controlling that wall opening. So now you must just model everything that needs to happen around there. But we've got a slight little catch here because we've actually got a, I need to change this because technically, now, are they going to build the brickwork?
No, so it's like a glass panel that's rectangular, but only the mullion is curved. I don't know if that is possible.
Okay, no. All right, so no,
So
so it's a
it's a
traditional
normal,
door.
a traditional
It's a
door
traditional door.
with an arch at the top.
Mullion. No, that we can do. Okay.
Okay, is that
Okay.
slightly
No, okay, no, that's slightly simpler. No, then, yeah, no. Okay. Sorry, I thought
Okay.
that you wanted an arch door and then.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. So, yeah,
Okay.
rectangular.
Okay, no, that's doable. Okay. So what we do now, and I'm going to quickly model in a quick. What is fascinating? This should have been center, front, and back. That's weird. Let me just check here. Exterior. So you got other reference planes here. You got an interior and exterior. This is usually center, front, and back. Just make the center because technically this is center, front, and back. Okay. So I'm going to call this, give it a name. You have to give it a name. Call this center. And it's actually, you'll see it's actually pretty straightforward. Now, go to exterior view and I'll show you how this door works as well. So I'm going to create a quick door frame. So you create an extrusion. It's like modeling in place, same principles. Set your work plane. You want your reference line center. There was one already, but it's not visible. So I'm going to use I'm going to use the center, front and back rather, not that other one. That's okay. Oh, it's working in that direction. That's strange. So let me use that. Sorry, my bad. Set. So I'm going to use the center, center, front and back. That's what I'm going to use. Press OK. If I go show, it shows me the work plane.
Yeah.
All that you do now is you create your extrusion. Watch this. So here, so now that's my external door frame. And I've got a feeling this is going to be a fixed, maybe let me show you that as well, reference plane. This will get a bit tricky with arc, so you might have to get a fixed width of the door. Okay, if you want to maintain this arc, but let me just explain how this works. So DI, here I'm just creating a panel just so that it just means that if I create extrusions along here, that if the door goes up and down, the mullions automatically adjust. But maybe that's a fixed ratio, so maybe not do that. Yeah, but the arc will come into play. But let's just see. Okay, there are pros and cons here. Anyway, it's centered for the time being. Cool. Now, so now this is my door frame. All I have to do, I'm creating an extrusion. I'm going to use the offset command now. Offset. Create a copy. I'm going to make this 30 mil. It depends on your frame thickness that you're going to use. Okay, so click that again. You can go and add in these guys now. So let's just create a rectangle. So let's just say tab. Let's say.
Can we still adjust the height?
Now I'll explain now. Sorry. So that guy will be 30. And I'm going to move this guy. I'm just doing this roughly now. Move it for now. Grab the center. Switch off your line weight so you can see the stuff better. Grab that. Move this. And I'll show you how it starts looking in your project as well. I'll put it in a location quickly. Copy that. And then copy this guy again. Okay, good. All I can do is grab this side. Delete that. Delete that. Okay, split command. split, one there, one there, one there, one there, trim. Okay, so we've created our frame in essence. One thing I forgot is there's actually a door frame, so I need to move that away from the door frame.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be another frame. There'll be another door frame here. So I will lock that in. I'll do that now. I'll resort this out. But for now, so now here's my door frame. Then I want to do that detail. So let's just say, yeah, this will have to be, so in essence, and let's just grab this. I wonder if it must go, how have they done that? Looks like it goes, so let's just do this. Yeah, because now technically this will have to be square.
Yeah.
This distance, okay, so let me show you how we're gonna make an equation to make that work. Okay. This does get,
And this is for a single door, right?
yeah,
Okay. So because these currently are a double door.
yeah.
And if I needed to adapt this for
You
a
do
double door,
the same process, yeah. This is tricky. Okay, this is tricky.
I like to make my life complicated apparently.
No, these things happen. Here I'm gonna call this distance. So let's call this distance. I'm gonna make this a parameter. So just call this arc. Oh yeah, so grab that. I'm gonna call this arc. Okay, now same thing. Di. Watch this. The magic is gonna start to happen now. Grab this guy. I'm gonna change this to arc as well. Guess what? Ta-da! We've just set up an equation to tell it, listen here, it's just the door width is too
But
wide.
wouldn't it be 1,000 by 500?
Oh yeah, oh no, wait. But guess what? We've got a door width that we need to maintain. So the door width, so let's change that to width. I'm going to change this to width. I'll explain now. Door width. Because technically, whatever the door width is, this must keep that ratio of that arc.
But so for a single door,
yeah, for a single
it would
door.
be the full arc still.
Yeah.
Not just half.
No,
Yeah.
just the full arc. Yeah, exactly. Now, we're just making sure. Now, here's the little dilemma with these things. These things, because technically we need to make this an extrusion, so that now we're going to go and say offset 30. Okay, so now I'm going to trim that and that. Trim that and that. Trim that. That's fine. Trim that. Oh yeah, here we just got to say trim that with that, and then trim that with that.
Okay, that's
Done.
cool.
Now, here's the little catch.
Yeah.
This thing always needs to be locked because technically, the center's always there.
Yeah.
Now, this is where all hell breaks loose. You click on an arc and you tell it show center mark. It's very strange. And then you make sure that you lock in a line. It just means that if align that and that center mark, it just means that it forces this relationship. If the door gets narrower, and watch this, that now the magic is going to start to happen. So now, if I change the door width to 900, and it maintains, all hell can break loose if you don't get this correct. Yeah, you'll see the door will actually stop working. Okay, let's just say, now, one last setting is because we've done an extrusion, it needs to start, so let's say it's in the middle of the wall. So technically it's going 45 in that direction, it's going 45 in that direction. So end will be, this is where you got to use your head. Yeah, you just have to see, and minus 45. Apply. Now, I'm going to say finish for now. So I've actually created the frame. So if I go to 3D view now, but technically it's not 45, it should be 25. You want it 50 mil, so 25 and then minus 25. Oh dear. But now it's always working around the center of the door.
Okay. Okay, but it's still the issue for a single door would need to be a half
Yeah,
like a half moon.
yeah, yeah.
Are we still?
Can we go back there again?
So this is a double door. So obviously each panel has half an arc, but when
Yep.
they close, it forms that full
Yes.
arc
Oh, for a
circle.
single door, it
But
needs
for
to
a
be.
single, it needs to
Okay,
be
yeah,
a
let's fix that. Yeah, so it's slightly different. So edit extrusion. Okay, so that was for a double door. So let's just quickly fix it now. This is quite yeah. Now, if it's a single door, we need to introduce another reference plane. Okay, but you've got a center line already, so that will work. So let's just get rid of that. Delete that. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go and say, now we have to use an equation because this guy
needs to be half.
half. So what we do, it's weird, but we will. You get a new parameter. You're just creating a new, and it's a length parameter. You call this um, arc. You just call it arc. Here you're going to say equals to width, and you have to type it exactly like that. So it's an equation divided by 2. Okay, watch this. Voila. Now you grab this guy and you tell it, oh yeah, by the way, oh no, there was 2 arcs. I must get rid of that. Delete that parameter. So now it'll give you. Okay, we might have to add because maybe the arc starts at the center. We just need to see now. So let's just quickly see. Create. Oh yeah, so we're in the extrusion.
I see.
Okay, now we say offset. You got it. This is going to take, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a strange. Okay, it's going to take a bit of getting used to, but these things do take a bit of
Time, patience,
time and
love,
patience.
and energy.
And yeah, but what I like about it is you get a complete, so now we need to go trim that, trim that, and that, because that's what you want to see. Oh yeah, trim, I made a mistake here, so trim that with that, trim that with that, and then we just need to split this guy, split, and then make sure that we trim that and that again, trim that and that. Hey, we've got too many lines here. Delete that guy, trim. Okay, good. So then, do you want that going across still? Do you want that? Okay, good. Then we're gonna delete that because we don't need that anymore and we don't need that anymore. Now we're gonna trim that with that because technically that's working now. Trim that with that. Okay. Okay, good. Now this guy, yeah, delete that because technically delete that, and then trim. But if these doors are fixed, you don't have to go to too many constraints. You can actually just model the door fixed and you make sure that the door width is correct. Okay. So this guy, now you can grab this point and you can just take it right to there. Then trim. Yeah, that should work now.
Perfect. Great.
Okay. And then you can put those two. So I would make sure to avoid complications. Make sure that your doors are a certain height, to 100. Do you guys now understand how the door heights work here? To 100.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I would maybe make the door a strict height
So I do
in the family.
from up to there, I want 2.1 to there, and then that above.
Oh, wait a minute. So these are not a standard door panel. It's actually a slightly bigger door.
Yes.
So the whole door height in essence is 2.4 maybe.
Yeah.
Rough. I would say
Yeah.
maximum 2.4. Okay.
Well,
Now,
it's whatever that height of that.
then what we do here is when you start the family to 400. Now I'm going to see. I'm going to don't do that. And you can have types, but let's just get this fixed and make sure that the door width is always 900 or 900 is fine. Yeah. Okay, good. Now you can see the whole thing moved and adjusted. Voila, the magic is starting to happen now. So now you can see that this is, now you can add 2 more divisions in here. So let's just go back to the extrusion. Now, just say continue. Oh yeah, just say continue for me, please. Now you get the door opening and you get the door panel. So let's just assume, yeah, because you have a door frame that you build in for the door. So this is the door panel in essence. Okay. So we actually have to build another extrusion goes around, which is actually your frame. Okay, and then we need to put this symbol in to tell you. So let's maybe say, let's put another reference plane. Reference plane. This reference plane is merely for construction. I'll explain now. So this guy, you make some more reference planes. Now you make another parameter, which is frame. Okay. Sorry, this is complicated. So okay, so that's going to be frame. So we're going to go to DI. So now this dimension here, this guy, we're going to change to see if there's frame already. Frame here, see frame width. There is frame built into it already. But technically, we always want our frame to be 30 mil, especially these steel frames. They're usually quite thin. Okay, frame width 30. Here you can see frame projection, interior, exterior. There's a lot of the stuff that's pre-built in. Okay, now you'll notice that's all changed. Now you must just make sure that you add the dimensions to there and change. Make sure it uses the parameter. Because the room's actually quite noisy. It's a lot of serious debate about
It's always like
Starbucks.
this.
Okay, frame width again. Good. So now we've fixed that. We know that your frame's always going to be, and on the fly, you can go and change these parameters and it'll automatically adjust the door. Okay. Now, just remember which way this goes, left and right. Okay. Good. We've built in 90%. I must just fix this so that I can incorporate the frame. Okay, so edit extrusion. All I do now is I grab all this information. Now this arc, I might have to say minus frame. So the equation might have to adjust a bit. Okay, so this is where it gets a bit.
More complicated.
If you guys, do you know how to use Excel formulas and stuff like that? We're doing the same thing. Think of this as Excel. Okay, so now we're going to say frame. Frame width. Okay, so now you have to spell it exactly the same way, otherwise it doesn't work. And with lowercase, uppercase. Okay, now you can see, voila. And it's adjusted. Okay, but now I need to change this. This needs to work from that parameter. I need to work from the frame, so frame width. So here, so I made this slightly incorrectly, but I'm showing you how you go and fix this on the fly. Look at that, voila, it's adjusted. Okay, now move these guys out the way because we're doing this inside the extrusion. So some parameters you put inside the extrusion, some you put outside. Here, change this to 1 to 1 so you see things a bit better. Now, all of this stuff needs to move down, so move this down. Then that's fine. This guy should have moved down. Why didn't it move down? I'll see now. I'm going to move all this stuff on this side because it needs to move to the frame. Move this from there to there. Okay, and I'm going to move all of this stuff. I just need to move it to the frame. So I should have started with this frame. So that was my bad. Okay. Good. Remove constraints. Good. Remove constraints. Good. Now, just to make sure that things, I might have to recreate that. I'll explain why. I'll recreate that and I'll recreate that. Okay. Now that I've moved all this stuff to the correct location, I just make sure now, because I've moved stuff, I make sure that I tell this now to work with the correct, and always use the reference plane to reference stuff. Okay, so I'm just locking them to those reference planes. Okay, good. Now, I'm happy now if the width changes, and I can test it very quickly. If the width changes, that starts to work. Now, I'm going to create an arc again. Okay, so I'm going to create, and I could actually, Yeah, let's use this guy. So I'm going to use a circle again. So here, center, center. Okay, this should start working. So this guy, put on this. Okay, we'll trim it up and then we'll lock the arc. Okay, split. Um, there and there and there and there. Delete. Trim. Yeah, now we're going to offset this guy again. So offset, offset. Once you've got one in place, it's quite, you can, yeah. So you can just offset one arc now, and then you can start using it again and again. So that guy's good. Now all I need to do is switch on this just in case. It'll give me that center mark for that. It is there small, align it to there, and align it to there. Okay. But it should start working now because it's all working around the center. Now, trim that guy off that guy, 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 and then we delete that guy. Phew! Voila. Now, voila. Now we've got an awesome door with its frame. The frame's technically not there at the moment, but I can add that frame in quickly. So just go to exterior. All that you do now is you create extrusion. So you go create extrusion. Make sure this is 25 minus 25, so it keeps the same. You can make the frame slightly thicker if you want. Now, pick line tool. I'm going to use the pick line tool and lock stuff so that it keeps a relationship with those objects. So whatever those objects do, this object will do with it. Sometimes you can over constrain objects, but rather be safe than sorry. And now one more. Now watch this. Finish. Sorry, this is a bit of a complicated one that we're doing here. There's your door frame, then there's that. Make sure you put these things on the correct category, subcategory,
And then I
frame. Yeah, frame. Now I'm just going to show you the glass. Good. Now you're going to go to exterior. Now, these things we work in the opposite direction. Now, we've got most of our stuff. Last thing we're going to go is create extrusion again. Extrusion. Now, with this extrusion, you're going to use the pick line tool. Watch this. If I tab, so this is my glass, my glass panels in essence. Okay. Tab, tab. It will start recognizing these islands. Now this piece of glass, it's usually 5mm minus 5mm. Yeah, it's toughened glass. It's usually 8mm.
I don't think it's that important. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now that I've got that all in place, and I go finish. And if I go to 3D view now, oh yeah, make sure that this is glass. Now change the material to glass because it should be built in already. Now if I go to now, this is the last little. Now this is where things get just one last little hurdle. Now you need to decide what side the door swings out. Now this is all 2D information. So now we select all the 3D stuff. So select that, and select that. Now, if you go to visibility and graphics, when you go to plan view, you never show this in plan view, and you never show this in when cut in plan. You'll have to just see.
I know how to adjust this.
Okay, so you press OK. Just means that it's hidden. Now we use annotation because now what we do is we use symbolic line work to show the door swing and the door opening. Now we create an arc. So here we're going to go and say door elevation. It's usually elevation swing. Just leave it swing because they will use the same. So just say projection. Now you go and create an arc. So from So technically the door will swing from there to there, and maybe it always opens to the interior. Okay, you see what I'm doing here? Now we're also going to go and use a rectangle, create, annotate, symbolic line. Here we're going to use a rectangle, and then this is frame or panel projection. We create a rectangle. Now, this guy is going to have, I'm wondering now, because now we have to use an equation to get those to work correctly. So, but what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to go a line. I'm going to use this guy to control it for me. Now, this width I just have to set to 50 maybe. Now, this symbol has to tie in with this exterior symbol. So you need to make sure that this symbol is working from the correct. Oh yeah, and now this tab that needs to work from, because technically that's what's swinging. Technically that's what's swinging. Okay. Remove constraint. Snap intersection. Come on. Snap intersection. Now we've got to do, so in elevation you can show this stuff. In elevation you want to see the door swing, but you want to see this thing to tell you which way the door is swinging. Okay, now we need to make sure that it correlates with what you're seeing, if this is swinging in the right direction. So typically, let's go to 3D view. This is how I work it out. If you go to 3D view, I'll go to, so that's back elevation. So if I went to back elevation is interior. The door is swinging. So this is in the opposite direction. Delete. Okay, so this needs to go annotate. But this is how easy it is. Plans. We used opening. We should have used plan swing. But that's fine. Plan swing is what we want. Okay, now manage object styles. Now I hope this should be grade. Grade. I usually make this symbolic line. It's like a hatch. Now we just have to import. Shucks, this is transfer project standards. This is why you get BIM managers.
Yeah.
Check none. I just want filled. I want your line styles from line styles, line patterns. Line patterns, that's what I want. Press OK. Transfers them all. New only. Now if I go back to object styles, plan swing, I just need to change this to dashed 2, dash 1.5. I'll explain why now. There we go. Apply, press OK. Good. Okay, now we're almost in the home stretch. Otherwise, but if you had to draft and copy stuff from, by the time you've made the door, you've actually made plan swing. So make everything plan swing, because then at least in the project, everything projection. Now, good. Now, just let's give this door a name. File.
And now is this just as complicated for the curtain? Or is it the exact same?
It's the same.
The same, okay.
But you just make the door panel without the frame.
Okay.
Okay, then you have to adjust the curtain wall panel to work. But give it a go.
So
Worst case, you leave an opening and you model in place the door and you draft it. You fall back to that position. But let me just show you how this starts to work and how good this will be. Okay. Now that we've done, save this file, save this family so you can use it again. So file, give it a good name. So just call this save as. I'm going to call it test. Okay, save.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
we're almost
this
done.
was a complicated. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna put on your desktop for now, but save these things where you need to. Save. Now we're gonna load this into the project quickly. Load into project. Now, in your project, now this will work with these.
You can put it anywhere now.
So here's my little 900 door, and look at the symbology and look at everything. It will cut the opening in the door. So let's just go to 3D view. The line weights are off. So in 3D view, sorry, no, don't worry. Select this guy quickly, and then we're going to go. I'll just have to draft in where the door frame goes as well. It's a rectangle. Okay. And you can put it. You can put a masking region so it always hides and stuff like the floor finishes, that type of stuff. So we all have to do that as well. Okay, but let me just quickly show you this very quickly. So now in 3D view, I'll just switch this off for now so you don't see that, you don't see that. Oh, you know why? You've got this, you've got your things here. New construction. It's hiding.
Because it did that with one of my other doors that I tried to insert, and I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, it's got because of this thing here, show complete.
Okay.
So yeah, it's because of the phasing. Yes, yeah, I must actually show you that because it's showing. So you want to show complete, okay? Now check that out.
That's awesome. Thank you so
Okay,
much, Jason.
but now on plan, you can move this anywhere. So on plan, it's going to show it. So on your floor plan, so we're going to have to show this as complete. You guys are going to have to show complete, okay? So here, this phasing is going to be a
Because you
nightmare.
told me to make it none.
Yeah, but I think now you'll see it'll show because this is a new element,
Yeah.
new construction. So guys, show complete, okay?
Okay.
Because I think all of this was existing. So I need to see phase existing.
Yeah.
So if you say new, I might just change everything. You know, we'll have to discuss that. Okay. These doors are problematic because it's a cavity
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah, those were just
Yeah.
placeholders.
But now you can see that this door will work. And the symbology looks like mine. Okay, so you'll see that this thing will start working. And if you flip the door, okay, now this will start working well. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll have to start using show completes, etc. Anyway, good. I'll go and look for creating door families on Google. There's lots of them, and creating curtain wall panels. But the workflow that I showed you, you adopt the same thing.
Okay. But without the frame.
Without the frame. Yeah. Okay. But there's lots of videos to help you guys. But please try, come and see me. In the meantime, draft. Okay. Or model in place. You can punch opening and model the door in place. Worst case. Okay. Cool.
Just a question quickly. So this element here that I'm creating, it's part of my detail. It's kind of like a steel elements that come
Yes.
up and around.
Yes.
Should I just model that in place, or should I do it as a family?
Model in place. That's a model in place because that's something that you're going to need to deconstruct again. Okay. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
But this is, you guys are
It's getting there slowly.
good.
Okay,
Good.
perfect.
Thanks, Robin. All the best. You can just say stop sharing. Good. Thank you very much. And